Greetings, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of Great People TV. But this week, I am flying solo. My name is Ben Ibrahim, and my partner in crime, Hana Ismail, and Dayang. Dayang was with me last week. They send their apologies for not being able to partner me this week. Hana is in Mecca, and Dayang is very, very busy with her schedule this week. Don't forget, Dayang is a very famous sports presenter here in Malaysia, and I was very lucky that she took time out of her busy schedule to be with us last week for the Lisa Suriani episode. Before we continue and introduce our very famous football guest tonight, just want a big shout out to our sponsor, AccuAnswer, who has been shortlisted for the Malaysia Top E-Commerce Merchant Awards 2021. Thank you very much, AccuAnswer. You have been very supportive of Great People TV, the ideal partner, and we look forward to working with you now and in the near future as well. So congratulations, AccuAnswer, and well done indeed. So, don't forget, before we start, you know the drill. Press the subscribe button, press the like button, tell people about Great People TV, and yes, that is what it's all about. And because of our sponsor, AccuAnswer, please stick around and stand a chance to win an AccuAnswer ISO 4-in-1 multifunctional blood glucose meter. This is a very good device to help you in terms of eradicating or managing potential diabetes. Yes, it is a problem not just in Malaysia but around the world. So AccuAnswer can very much help in that sense. So thank you, AccuAnswer. Participate in our giveaway contest prize a little bit later as well. And don't forget, subscribe and press like to the Great People TV Facebook and YouTube buttons. But that is that, and without further ado, it now gives me great pleasure to welcome our guest all the way from France, Francais, the man they call Frank Leboeuf. And just call him Frank because it's going to be a very frank and honest conversation. But he's a very nice guy. Just to let you know, I worked with Frank a few years back when Frank was in Singapore when I was working for Fox. We worked on one game, and it was a Liverpool-Watford game. Unfortunately, it was a draw, and it was a very, very dry game. But tonight's conversation is going to be nothing dry. It's going to be fantastic. Frank, how are you?
I'm very good, Ben Ibrahim. Hi to everyone. Pleasure to be with you guys today. And yeah, for sure, it's not going to be dry today.
So Frank, and every time I talk to Frank, he calls me Ben Ibrahim. I feel like I'm being told off by my dad or my mother. So don't worry, Frank. You can just call me Ben. It's all good.
Okay,
But
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I like
So
that. You can call me Frank then.
yeah, yes, that's right. And the reason I like Frank so much, not because of his decorated Chelsea career, his World Cup, his Euro 2000, when France won the World Cup in 1998, defeating a very talented Brazil team 3-0 in France. What a memorable World Cup that was. But one of the reasons I like Frank very much, and the topic is tonight, football and life. Frank is probably one of the very, very few people I've met in sports, not just like in this part of the world, but globally, who has a very balanced view of the world. I remember when I first met Frank, like we worked together in Singapore, he said to me, I said to him, Frank, do you miss that lifestyle? He said, no, Ben, I'm learning new things. I'm learning other things. I'm the type of person that likes culture. I like history. I love my football. Frank loves his football, but he likes going to museums. He likes learning about art, theater, life, and that is why he's also got an acting career on the side as well, apart from his football punditry duties, which helps him chari makan or feed the rice pool, as they say. But Frank, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, I know I've sent you a bunch of questions which I want to ask you, but tell us about that interest about wanting something more than football when you were playing football, because most football players would say, this is as good as it gets. World Cup, Euro, Chelsea.
Well, I was born in a small village in south of France, and the mentality down there is all about the sun, the sea, and just having a good drink with friends. And I don't know, I became very curious about life and everything around life, and I think if you want to have a nice discussion, you have to know a little bit about everything, and it's I know it's hard to know everything, but a little bit of something there and here it's not enough for to have a nice conversation and of course I was really passionate and I'm still passionate about football, and I follow the Premier League, the international tournaments, and then the League One in France, everything. But I like other things: politics, movies, plays, and the world. And when I go to Kuala Lumpur or to Singapore, I want to know everything about people. I want to, and I go and I walk like crazy. I went to Boston because I worked for ESPN in the US, and I had 2 days off, and I went to Boston and I walked like, I don't know, 15 miles in one day to discover the city, because it's part of our the beauty of having the possibility of seeing and recording everything that we see. And that's what I want to see, and I want to do in my life. um, I'm very amazed by the life of the others. For me, my plumber is a genius when he solves some problems when I have a link. So I want to know how he does it. So I'm with him, and and I ask questions. That's who I am, because I think I'm just interested about others. I know the life of football players, and I'm not curious about it. I just commentate, analyze it, but I'm very interested about uh, something that I don't know. That's what just drives me in my life.
Nice, nice, nice. Now let's roll back the years a little bit in terms of your father was a football coach, correct?
Yeah, he was my football coach. He wasn't a professional one. He
And
played for Stade de Reims. In Reims was the biggest club in France in the late 50s, when they played the what is now the Champions League against Real Madrid, and they lost against Real Madrid. But Copa, who played for Real Madrid, used to play for Reims. Just Fontaine was the best top scorer in one World Cup, 13 goals in 58 in Sweden, played for Reims. And my father was a young player there, and so he taught me the way of playing football, and for like 10, 15 years. It was very tough. It was very hard. I remember one day, scoring 4 goals in one half, and after time, he was in the dressing room being very harsh on me, saying that I was very bad. And at the end of
wow.
the game, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go back home. I cried, and it was for me like it was insulting me in front of my friend. But I talked to Thierry Henry, who never smiled when he was scoring a goal, and he said because his father never smiled, and his father was tough. And I talked to Emmanuel Petit, and it was the same thing. And all of our fathers, or a member of our family, were tough with us. Never said that they were proud of ourselves. My father said that he was proud of me when I won the World Cup. So I was 30 years old. So it's a level of it's an intensity of work that you have to give to please them, and this may be why you win. Of course, it's too much, it's too extreme, but it is what it is. My father was my coach, and he never said that he was happy.
Yeah.
Only when I won the World Cup.
Wow. Well, yeah, what a World Cup that was, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Now, and then you managed to. I mean, I'm just summarizing here a little bit, and then you
Yeah.
managed to break into the French league. You played for Laval, and then you played for Strasbourg, and then the big Stamford Bridge, Chelsea. Tell us about that starting point and that journey of the blues, and then which led to Leboeuf. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a crazy story, because I was about to sign for Marseille in '96, and I was playing for Strasbourg. I joined the national team, Les Bleus, like a year before, and I was far away of thinking that Ruud and we went to the with the national team to the Euro '96 to play with the national team. And one day I received a phone call from Graham Riggs, former Arsenal player, but also he played in France in Caen and Le Havre. And he called me because he was speaking a little bit of French, and he said, "I'm with Ruud Gullit, and the tall guy wants you to play in central defense with him." And I say, well, is that a kind of joke of what? Because really, really knows me, the Ballon d'Or and everything, the Milan player, the captain of the Netherlands. He said, yes, yes, he loves you. And he thinks that he's very happy that you don't play with national team. You only substitute because nobody's going to see you how fantastic you are. I say, well, okay, where do I sign? and uh, and and then I went there. I had lots of clubs willing to hire me, like Lazio, Fiorentina. I think it was Valencia as well in Spain, and some clubs in France. But I picked Chelsea because they really wanted me, and they were creating a new era. The era was going to bring Abramovich after, and all the fantastic players who won the Champions League and so many other things. But we started it with Zola, Vialli, Di Matteo, Petrescu, Marcus, Torandre Flo,
Top
Dennis
notch.
Wise, and some others. Yeah, and the challenge was very interesting. I was the record signing for like 15 days for 2.5 million, which is ridiculous right now.
Yes.
but but that's another time, another era, and we studied everything. We lost nothing because didn't win anything for like 26 years with the Peter Osgood era. And the first year we won the FA Cup. The second year we won the European Cup Winners' Cup, then the League Cup, then the Super Cup against Real Madrid, and meanwhile I won the World Cup in '98. So that was crazy. It became insane. I won 6 titles, cups with Chelsea, and 3 with the national team within those 5 years. So all my silverware came during my time at Chelsea. That was insane. I think we grew up together. The club became unbelievable, where I became somebody at the same time with all that craziness of football. I remember after the FA Cup final in '97, when we went to Asia, we went to Hong Kong, Bangkok, and Brunei. That was insane. We arrived at the airport in Bangkok. It was like 5,000 people, and we had one each. We had a bodyguard, and I say to my friends, "Say, where is Michael Jackson? I want to see Michael Jackson." They're waiting for him, not for us. That was crazy, and I love that club because that club gave me the opportunity to show my my talent, I would say, and I'm so happy because people Stamford Bridge remember our time because it was the beginning of what Chelsea is now.
Nice, nice. And just on that, what was you had two managers, if I remember correctly, the great Ruud Gullit, or three. You had Ruud Gullit, you had Vialli, and
And Ranieri.
and Ranieri. Oh, you had Ranieri, the Tinkerman. Okay,
Yeah.
so what? How? Tell us just a little bit about those three managers as people and as their football brain.
Um, both of them were brand new coaches because Gullit was a players manager at the time when I signed, even if he didn't play a lot, but we had a few times that we played together in central defense. That was absolutely fantastic. He was the coolest guy I ever met
Okay.
as a coach. I remember I was injured when Gianfranco Zola played his first game in Blackburn, and we drew that game, and I stayed in London, and so I called Ruud after the game and say, "How was the game? How was Gianfranco?" He said, "Well, fantastic, perfect, everything." you know, as long as we were doing our best, everything was great for Ruud Gullit. That was fantastic, and he asked me how I was, and I said, "Well, I'm not happy because I'm injured and I would have loved to play." And he said, "Well, I'll take your time. You're going to come back and everything's going to be okay." And he said, "What are you doing tonight? It's Saturday night." He said, "Well, I'm doing nothing because my coach won't be happy if I'm going out. You know what? We're going to be back in London around 8 p.m. So we're going to go to the restaurant together around 9 p.m. And after we're going to go to a nightclub." That was ridiculous. So can you imagine? I by my new contract in a nightclub where I say I want to sign a new contract. He said, "Okay, let's have a drink and you're going to talk to the right people tomorrow." And that was Reed. But I was ready to die for Reed. I
Wow.
was ready to give everything because that guy gave me the chance to play with him, under him, and to win trophies. I was so devastated when he was sacked, but at the same time, my friend was Gianluca Vialli. 15 days before, they were both in at my birthday party, and I didn't know anything about that. Uh, Gianluca changed the way he was behaving with me when he became the coach, which is completely normal because he had to take some distance.
Yes, of
But
course.
it was sad because we were so close to each other. He spent Christmas at my place and
Uh,
everything. So it's it was overwhelming for him and maybe for too distance, and we never closed that gap back. I would say, and I'm still sad about it. Ranieri, I never wanted to sign to it in Italy because I didn't want to play in a Italian tactic or way of
fair,
thinking football.
fair enough.
And so as soon as he signed, with all due respect, because he's a fantastic person, a fantastic man, I never came as to leave the club. So I uh, stay only a year, I would say less than a year with Ranieri when I signed to Marseille. But 6 months before, I was about to sign for Monaco. For me, it was the end of an era because on top of it, John Terry was coming up and pushing to enter the field, and Ranieri wanted to make a kind of a signature with John Terry playing for the first time under him.
Yeah,
So I felt that I had to go.
fair enough.
I left with regrets because Chelsea is my club, and I didn't want to leave. I was ready to be substitute. That wouldn't be a problem, but there was the World Cup in 2002. It's why I left to play for another club to have a chance to play for the World Cup. If I knew the disaster of 2002, I tell you, I would have stayed at Chelsea.
Yeah, yeah. So, let's stay with the positives on that one because I mean for those of you who don't follow football, the 2002 France team didn't perform very well. They were heavy favored to perform well, but didn't because of certain off the field football reasons. But we won't talk about that. But with this, look, I just want to take a bit of a pause here, Frank. I just want to tell everybody, thanks everybody for watching, tuning in. Please leave your questions in the comments field and then we will read out your questions to Frank. I mean, I don't want to keep like my style with Great People TV or our style. We don't like to keep our guests here for hours and hours and hours. I just want to ask about 4 or 5 questions, and then after that, ask other people. I mean, if the questions are very respectful and they're very specific, we will
Yeah,
ask
please.
questions. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to ask Frank about his personal life and all that sort of stuff. Great People TV is not that kind of show. But Frank, if you could do us a favor, this particular episode was supported by Soldier Bureau, which is a Malaysian Chelsea supporters club. Very very active, and I mean, I'll be very honest. I haven't known them that well, but the time that we've come together to speak about this particular episode, they've been very very supportive. So can you just say a big shout out to Soldier Biru Malaysia? Can you say that, Frank?
Can you say exactly the name of it?
Soldier, like soldier,
So,
soldier.
like soldier.
Yeah, Soldier Biru. Biru means blue in Malay.
Ah, Biro. So a great heart to Soldier Bureau of Malaysia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think they'll be cutting that up in sound. Okay, the questions are coming in thick and fast. Well, look, we'll leave that towards the end. And funnily enough, there's a guy called Mark Hughes who's asked the question. And did you play with Mark Hughes, Sparky Mark Hughes?
Oh yes, oh yes, and is of course I play with absolutely fantastic player like Zidane, Zola, for example, but Marcus was the guy who impressed me the most for two reasons. You would have never picked him to play on Saturday if you would have seen him play training. He was the worst player ever in a training sessions, and one of the best player on Saturday. That was amazing. I worked with Craig Burley for ESPN, and we used to play together the first year that I played for Chelsea, and we keep on giving that example of if you think that most players will be good because they're good in training session, you have the other example of having the worst during the training session and having the best on Saturday. And I tell you, as a defender, when I was playing and we were under pressure, the guy that I was looking for to give the ball when I had the ball back, when I got the ball back, was Mark Hughes, because he was the kind of guy who could keep the ball for a minute with four guys surrounding him. The guy had calves like my thighs, and he was a monster. He was a real monster, and he was such a nice person, um, uh, very outside of the football, but he was a beast on the field. That was crazy. I love Marcus.
Yeah, he's very quiet as a person, isn't he? He doesn't say much. Is that true?
Him and him and his wife are the most quietest, the quietest couple that I ever met. Very low key, easygoing. Everything's perfect in a perfect world, And as soon as he wears a shirt, he's like the guy behind the steering wheel, getting crazy. But I love
Ah, that's great. That's
I
great.
love Sparky. He's
Yeah, Sparky. Yeah. Well,
real example.
this Sparky, we're gonna get to his question in a minute because this question is about your acting career, and we're gonna leave the football in a moment and then move on to your acting
Hmm.
career. But final football question, well, final Chelsea question: what did Chelsea Football Club teach you as a person and as a footballer in terms of, they say football, a sport is a great metaphor to make you better as a person, not so much just as a footballer. But what did the club teach you as an athlete and as a person?
That's a tough question because I was already international. They didn't teach me how to play football because I was already a football player. But I became another person because I played in England, because I played for Chelsea. Um, I learned English. I learned of the way of um, the way of thinking of English people, I guess, also. But in terms of football, when I came back to France, I was more a warrior than I was when I left France. I
Right.
would say, because of the Premier League, because
Yep.
of toughness of the game, and in fact, I I appreciated my time over there because I had the confirmation that football was created in England, because the love of football, the behavior of the fans, uh, the culture around the football is absolutely magical in England comparing to any other
I agree.
country.
I agree. I agree. Completely agree. So obviously England taught you about toughness, the love of football, obviously English, and no disrespect from my experience with French people. French people, generally speaking, don't are not fond of speaking the English language. Putting it that diplomatically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But it's one of my first reason why I signed for Chelsea, because I wanted to speak English. I wanted my kids to speak English because I think it was something you needed if you wanted to conquer the world. And I have the chance to talk to you. I had the chance to share some thoughts all around the world because of the English. And French people, they think that because they speak French, you can go everywhere around the world. Yeah, that was the case 200 years ago, but it's not anymore. So speak English, French people, and I'm proud. I'm proud of that.
No,
I'm
good.
very proud of that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I love watching your posts on Instagram. Follow Frank's Instagram, everybody. By the way, absolutely hilarious stuff. And Frank, I'll be honest. When I speak to you, not just tonight, but in our past, when we work together at Fox, and we communicate, I sometimes feel like you're an Englishman but with a French accent.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Uh, well, I'm a citizen of the world. I I I I lived in London, in England. I lived in Qatar. I lived in Los Angeles, in the United States. I feel good everywhere. Well, everywhere. I don't know. My wife, she's from French Guyana, which is north of Brazil. It's very humid, very hot. You have the jungle is very hostile. I don't know if I really like to go there. So, but otherwise, yeah, if I go to Asia, I feel comfortable. I feel
Cool.
comfortable. I can I go with the culture.
Great, great. And Frank, let's move now. Thanks for sharing all the Chelsea and football stories. I'm sure we can talk about it until the cows come home. But there's a football there's a some football questions at the end from our viewers, and we'll get to that in a
Okay.
minute. But this is a question from Mark Hughes. If I wanna, can I?
Yeah.
Okay. Dear Mr. Leboeuf, having made the decision to go into acting after being a World Cup winner, would anything less than an Oscar considered to be a failure? Also, how many current footballers are better actors than teammates? So, two-part question there.
Well, um, the first question is I don't care about the Oscar. I don't care about the Ballon d'Or. That's not a pursuit of any goal for me because it's individual. I always play collectively. When you get the Oscar of the best actor, it doesn't mean anything to me because first you need a good scenario, you need a good director, you need a very good story, you need good actors around you. You need a very good editor because the time you were bad, they cut you off, and make sure you were good everywhere and every time. That's the same thing with the Ballon d'Or. How can we say that the guy is the best player in the world where I'm pretty sure that Messi is not very good as a goalkeeper? You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean anything to me. So saying that he's the best player, no, he's the most entertaining player, he's the most attractive player, and no doubt about that about Messi, Ronaldo, Zidane before, Mbappe, Neymar. They are the players, the people that people pay ticket to see. But that's it. But just I'm 53 now. I'm just looking for good time, pleasure. So I'm not. It's why I'm not too much into movies. I get impatient. It's boring. You shoot like 2 minutes per day in a movie. If it goes well, uh, where in the theater when I do plays, I work for like an hour and a half on stage. I produce those plays, I direct those plays, and I played in it, and I enjoy, and it's a success. I've been 1,100 times on stage, therefore more than that I've been on the field, and I enjoy that time because I do something. I don't wait for something, and I do it with my friends. I again I'm in a team. I don't do stand-ups. I don't do one-man shows because it's boring. I want to share my time with my friends, and I enjoy telling a story like I enjoy playing a game.
Nice, nice. And tell us about your acting career. How did that? I mean, yes, you love culture, you love arts, you love what museums, you love history, and all of the above. But just in summary, how did that love for acting start? And tell us how it's going because it is probably the second toughest job or the toughest job to get into after being a professional footballer.
Well, that's always about passion. Um, when I was 4 years old, my mother allowed me to watch plays on TV, and
Right.
I was very famous in France. And every Saturday night, almost every Saturday night, we had the chance to see that and to watch that. And I was stuck in front of the TV, seeing people telling a story on stage. And I said, I want to do that after. I became a football player because of my father, and we talked about that, but I kept that in mind. And in 2000, I had the chance to be in a movie with Harvey Keitel and some famous French actor, American, Maurice Blythe, who is played in Munich, in the movie Munich. He's German. And I asked Ranieri if I could go, and I went 3 days in Berlin, and I came back after that experience, and I said, okay, I know what I want to do. Definitely, I want to be an actor. So when I gave up my career, I didn't go back to France to learn the process of acting, but I went to Los Angeles because I knew nobody knew me, and I pretended that I was a commercial, and I studied follow courses. And for 6 months, I was completely incognito. And then an Italian recognized me. Say, well, that guy is not a commercial. He was a football player. I know him. And then, well, that changed. But I followed courses for like a year and a half in Lee Strasberg Institute, which is a branch of actor studio,
Yep, yep.
and I started to play movie. And my first movie where I played myself, but it was a comedy. It was played in Bali, in Indonesia, where we played a comedy. Was But it was very funny. The ref was blind, and we started to fight with the corner stick, and that was really fun. And little by little, I started to be into movies, but in 2010 I had the chance to be in a play, and I went back to France, and I fell in love with somebody, somebody who became my wife,
Nice.
and I stayed in Paris, and now it's my eighth eighth play, and I've been in some movies, so voila.
Voila, 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 voici. So, I'm look to all the Yusmail, to Sritharan, Amsha Ashavin, which is basically the same person, and obviously Chelsea Soldier Bureau. I'm gonna get to your questions in a minute, but just want to explode because don't forget this interview with Frank is not just about football because it's about football and life, and we're now talking about the life aspect, but back to the acting part, Frank. You seem to be enjoying it. I mean, every time we speak, you seem to be enjoying like going for auditions, meeting people. I think you told me a story once. I met someone on the plane, and he said, "Hey, let's do something together." And then sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But what kind of moving forward? What kind of roles would you like to aspire to? Because when you start acting, it's like football. It's about getting some experience, getting some gigs,
Yeah,
some confidence, all of the above. But you've got okay, you don't want to win the Ballon d'Or because because that's too subjective, but you just say, I want to play in that movie. I want to play in that kind of movie.
yeah.
And I don't want just to be the footballer. I want to be, the James Bond of Europe or whatever. So, what kind of roles are you aspiring to, not just in the movie scene, but in the theater scene as well?
um I normally play in plays. I normally play the guy, the not funny guy, the very serious guy, or the guy who pretend to be very serious. In my new play, I'm playing the new president of the French Republic, before the election.
Okay.
So I'm very vain. I don't care about the people, like we can see, well, whatever.
I
Almost
could have
more
said
of a
something there,
dictator.
but I won't. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, all right. And but in a movie, I tell you, the beauty of being an actor is to do what you would never do in a normal life. I want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be James Bond. Well, James Bond, yes, but I'm not that handsome, so that was gonna not gonna be my goal. But I want to be the bad guy. I want to be Doctor No. I want to be somebody else, because it's something I wouldn't be, or I didn't want to be. I don't want to be in a normal life. Um, the movie that I love the most is the Schindler List. I had the chance to meet Liam Neeson, became my friend, and I love his role. But I want to be the Nazi because I know I'm the opposite of that, and that's what I'm looking for when I work. The difficulty of being somebody else, seeking for to get into the role, and looking for the darkness of your personality, and that's very interesting, and that's what I want to play one day. Hopefully somebody's going to offer me something where I will be a very bad French guy living in, I don't know, in the US, or in Singapore, I don't know, but that's what I want to be. Yeah,
Nice. Now, well, you know what? Like you said, Frank, you're a citizen of the world. Movies these days, I mean, there's a very famous movie that came out in the last couple of years, Crazy Rich Asians. There's a movie now
yeah,
called Kung Fu, and it's on almost an all Asian cast. And once upon a
sure.
time in the 90s, we wouldn't have thought that, So
No,
the
of course not.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
That's true. Having an accent was a real problem
yes,
when you were French. No, no, you're too much of French accent, so you cannot play in an American movie, which is not a problem anymore. We see it with Vincent Cassel, and some other actors in France. They work very well. Omar Sy. You would have never seen a French black guy with a French accent playing in an American movie. It's possible now.
Yes.
Well, now that's good. As long as you have the talent, everything is possible.
That's right. And you know what? Don't worry, Frank. Great People TV. I mean, I know we're new, but we do pick up steam. We've been interviewed Yvonne Chapman. You know, she's from the TV show Kung Fu. You know, and she's a very friendly person, very pretty person. And you know, yes, exactly. So you know, I'll put in a good word for you as well. And we do have a bit of an audience picking up in terms of the actors that we're trying to bring in and everything like that. So you know, stay in touch, my friend. If there's any way I can help you, and like you're helping us today,
Ah,
be more than happy.
well, that will cost them a lot.
Right, right. Well,
We're nice people, but we're nice people. We're clever people.
with great people. Okay, that's why it's called Great People TV. So, look, Frank, it's been
Thank
a
you.
very, very enjoyable interview. You've given us some perspective, and like, I just want to quickly sail through some of the questions from
Sure.
the audience. Because I don't want to be disrespectful, they're tuning in and they're watching, but you don't have to go too long about it because I do want to cut this. I will finish at about 9:50. I'm just trying to be respectful of Frank's time, everybody. This one's coming from Malaysia Chelsea Soldier Bureau, which is the Malaysia Chelsea Football Fan Club, or one of them, the one who's been working with us. Now, you spoke about generations earlier. You know, like the 90s was a very different time and everything like that. Obviously, the 2020s is a very, very different time. We live in a super, super tech data industrial revolution world. Now, in your opinion, no right or wrong answer, the Malaysia Chelsea Soldier Bureau Club is asking, what do you think, your opinion, is the attitude, the difference of the attitude between your generation, the 90s, and the current generation who are Champions League winners? Chelsea, of course.
Uh, Chelsea, you know, the football has changed. The Because of the social network, you know, the relationship between the fans and the player has changed as well, and it's always difficult to compare generations because I think our football war was tougher than it is now because we were able to do things without being caught by any cameras. Where you have cameras everywhere, and it's hard to be, you know, to avoid any bad behavior. So the Vinnie Jones, the Roy Keane, the David Batty, the Dennis Wise, and you know the crazy some crazy gang people, you know, couldn't have played nowadays, you know, because it would have been impossible for them to hide their behavior. So now, um, what would I think it's hard to live a football life nowadays because you have to do everything. For me, they spend lots of energies, you know, outside of the field, um, doing the commercials of stuff like that they have to do, which it was only for big stars to do in our times. Commercials, you couldn't see lots of football players in commercials. It started after, let's say, 98, 2000, but before that was only the big names were capable of having maybe a one advertising, you know, and be paid a lot. But now it's crazy. It's crazy. They have to do
Nuts,
that for the
nuts.
club. They have to fly. If you're an international player, you see Ronaldo, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. It's like on their day off, they only shoot commercials. So they never rest. That's crazy. So it's good for the money. We hear some $100 million for Messi and Ronaldo only on merchandising, which is absolutely fantastic for them. And I'm very time. It's a time where you don't rest. You know, I wouldn't have seen my life like that. I was very pleased to go to the training ground, go back with my family, go to Richmond Park in London to see the deers and enjoy and have a nap and go back to the training ground and have a nice dinner with my friend Dan Petrescu, Roberto Di Matteo in the nice restaurant in London. That was it. That was my life when I was at Chelsea. They can't do that anymore. Why they go to the restaurant? They're going to be filmed. They're going to be
Yeah.
pictured, you know, with paparazzis and some others. Even anybody with a phone take a picture, put it on social network, and you are criticized the day after. It's a very hard time. Football wise, I don't enjoy the football right now. I mean, sometimes, yeah, when I see Liverpool 2 years ago, when I saw Chelsea last year, you know, fighting, not maybe having the best team in the world, but getting the Champions League because of the team inside the club. So I love that. But football wise, most of the time I get bored, I have to say,
Right.
comparing to what I saw in the 90s or 2000, where no, it was different.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too old to appreciate it,
Yeah.
but when I see it, players like Van Dijk, when I see Lukaku, when I see N'Golo Kante or Kovacic, I enjoy football. I really enjoy. But most players, they're boring players. So when I see Klopp, Tuchel, Guardiola, I enjoy because there is a thought. There is a thought of football, and I love that. Uh, it's why I love Gullit. It's why I love Viali. It's why I love Jacquet in the national team because they were intelligent coaches. They were trying to find something different. So Alex Ferguson was the same. Arsene Wenger as well. Uh, but you had those other coaches. You know what I loved about English football in the Premier League? It was English. Now it's worldwide.
Yes.
It's
International.
worldwide.
Yep.
It's international. You wouldn't play like Manchester City at the time. You had the long kick, the second ball, and you had to fight, and the field was awful. Yeah, it was England. It's not England anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I joke with some people. It's not sometimes it's not the EPL. It's the English Premier League. It's the European Premier League. You know, because I mean,
That's why. Well, we are the first guilty for that. Chelsea had 7 players, different players in my time. We studied that era, so I have to
yes,
say. So my bad about that. But when I see Brighton, when I see Brentford, um, uh, and who I forgot, I I see sometimes what I used to see at the time.
nice, nice. Okay, and you know what? I'm gonna get to the football the questions in a minute, but this is a question that I sent you earlier, Frank. Like you said, the world is different today. Like if you look at the Olympics, Simone Biles, the gymnast, she pulled out of almost all her events because she said she's mentally stressed. Okay, and mental
Mm-hmm.
health is a common challenge amongst athletes these days. I mean, I've seen documentaries and read athletes who won a gold medal on the Thursday night. On the early Thursday morning, they wake up with panic attacks. What's next? What's next? What am I going to do? I mean, and it's a serious problem. So you've always been a balanced athlete. You said you wanted your football goals, but you wanted your life goals as well, and you're chasing those life goals, and you're enjoying chasing those life goals. What's your advice to those athletes out there around the world who are going through this type of mental health challenge?
Well, it's hard, It's an illness. So I was laughing at it because that's overwhelming. What they're living, the life they live in, and it's something I never wanted to. I started when I started playing football. I say 2 years. I realized that was something I should avoid, and I did, and I felt relieved about the fact that uh, I didn't put the pressure on myself because I didn't know what people were saying about me. I was just playing my life. But it's impossible now. They are they are digging their own hole of craziness, of problems, because they live in a life where you have to give validation to people who are not even valid. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, people will put comment on something they don't know, but they think they're legit to say it. They're not. They're not. When I talk to journalists, and sometimes I say, you know what, you can go to a certain level of understanding about my game, but you will never feel what I felt when I was in the middle of Stamford Bridge, or Old Trafford, or so many other stadium where you have the pressures of the fans, of the result and everything. Something you can't explain. You can't. You just have to feel it, but you won't never feel it. So now I know that some players, for example, in France, because some coaches told me, they go back to their dressing room, and for 10 minutes the coach cannot say anything because they're all with their cell phones checking what people think about themselves on Twitter. So they don't even know or not, they don't care. They want to know what people think about them. Me, I knew I didn't need to read newspapers the day after. If I was bad, if I was good, I knew. That's it. That's the problem that they have. So, and there's so much dragged into that they losing their mind.
Right, right. Yeah, no, it's a different time. I mean, I'll be honest with everybody. I don't mind sharing my age. I'm 43. Frank's a little bit older than I am. We didn't have phones.
Yeah,
We had to put coins in the payphone, to make
yeah,
a long call. So, and at
yeah.
that.
That's the thing. That's the thing, Ben. That's funny you should say, because I remember going to Asia in '96, and you had to wait to be at the hotel room to call your family, like 15 hours after. And but you never wonder, what they were doing, what the world was thinking, what would. That's okay. We have the time for that. I think we appreciate it more. Remember, 98. Just give you an example. In '98, we spent an hour and a half on the coach on Champs Elysees to celebrate with the fans, and we had no cell phones and everything. In 2018, they spent 15 minutes because of the terrorist problems. That's a big concern in France and everyone around the world. They were afraid of terrorist attacks, so they only spent like 15 minutes. But the worst for me is players were filming the fans and the fans were filming the players, but nobody enjoyed the moment, the present. That's the problem that we have now. You People go to concert and they film. Well, I go to concert to see the star. I don't care what people think. It's like I'm going to a nightclub. Hey guys, I'm in a nightclub. I enjoy your time in a nightclub. Why do you need to make sure people are jealous because you entered in a nightclub? That's what it is in Los Angeles. Yeah, that's crazy. People, they want to make people jealous because they went in.
Oh, God, it's a classic. You're making us laugh, Frank. But Frank, just I know that you are. We're just a bit short on time. We've only got about 10 minutes for this interview, so I'm going to give you a challenge, my friend. I think they give this challenge in an acting test sometimes. I'm going to shoot you a question, and these are the questions from the viewers. You can just reply it in one quick sentence because I'm just very respectful of your time. So let's just go up. Very quick question. No, there's a Zidane question there. That's a bit more long-winded. So if I can just go down. Okay, this is a question from Faisal Musa. Just very quickly, Frank, if in one sentence, what would you tell Paul Pogba to on how to play when he's playing for Manchester United? How can he play like the Paul Pogba of France? Just one sentence. If he was in front of you right now and you had 10 seconds with him.
Paul, stop thinking, play, enjoy, show us the way.
Okay, that's good inspirational advice. And yes or no, we're not going to go on too much about it. There was an Antonio Conte question. Just go
Oh,
up. Okay. I'm good. Sorry, Sritaran. I'm going to just shorten this question because of time. Yes or no, will Antonio, you played against him in Euro, Antonio Conte. Yes or
yeah.
no,
Mm.
will he be a success at Spurs?
Yes or no? Well,
Oh,
uh, yes, if Mr. Levy is ready to spend lots of money.
that's a very safe answer. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, Amsha said Conte sudah expired, which means Conte is not as good as he thinks he is. Okay, all right, we're gonna miss that question. Okay, Azan Kames, is there an opportunity for our fan base in Malaysia to play soccer together with you or ex-Chelsea players, 7 aside or 11 aside? Don't. I'm just gonna answer that question. Azan, because Frank and I are actually discussing that, but it's just we're looking at borders, okay, in terms of like it's all about COVID. Because I mean, one thing, Frank, if you want to add on, please do. But Frank's a man of the world. He always tell me I want to come to Malaysia. We'll do some fun camps and just spread the word about not just about football, but about life messaging. So Azan, definitely we will get there as well. Okay, the question here. I think there's a few Manchester United friends who are. Mondre Wong says hi, Frank. Hello, Mondre Wong. Say hi, Mondre Wong, Frank.
I'm a Joan.
Okay, great. All right. So just go up to our Zidane question. Okay, you smile Ghazali. I think this guy's a pretty hardcore Manchester United fan. Two parts to the question, Frank. Tell us about Zizou, Zinedine Zidane. You played with him. You won a World Cup with him, and everybody thinks he is the Messiah. I mean, he did well at Real Madrid. Not taking anything away from him. Some people say he was lucky, but first part to the question: what is he like as a person? Obviously, he's a football genius, but what's he like as a person? Okay, because we're talking about life here, and the second part is because of that personality that he's got. He's a bit introverted. He doesn't speak much English, and his life is just 150% football. Do you think he could bring success to a club like Manchester United, who have the biggest expectation in the world? If they draw tomorrow, it's a disaster. That's the mentality of the fans there. Frank.
Uh, Zizou is somebody, as you say, he's pretty shy. He doesn't talk much, um, and we never really discussed together when I was playing alongside him. But he's somebody who liked laughing, and he had his best friend Dugarry next to him was a real clown. So Zizou was always laughing as stupid things that Christophe was doing, where and that was enough in his life, to be happy. And after, as you said, those players have an intelligence of playing football. Maradona was like that, and somebody. Yeah. They know one thing very well is to play football. They see better, they see quicker, they see faster. It's like they are in a slow motion in their head where everybody will be 200 kilometers, and that's absolutely fantastic. Um, I was very surprised that he wanted to become a coach, and I never believed that he would be. I saw him in 2 years' time starting his courses and finishing his courses, and he was a different person. And I want to give him the credit of working very hard to become one of the best coaches in the world. And you cannot say when you win 3 times in a row the Champions League, which never happened in the football history, that Zidane had some chances in that matter. Yes, you can have a little bit of chance once, maybe twice, but thrice. Come on, guys, you have to give him some credit. The guy did the job, and when he came back after being fired, he won the Liga with a team was everybody thought that they were over, they were at the end of a cycle. So he brings something special in the dressing room. Now, I never thought he had a career plan. I never thought he wanted to go to England, Germany, or even France, except maybe the national team. I think he was ready to go back to Juventus because he played there, but he has a nice life in Madrid. He doesn't want to go to any other club than Madrid, Real Madrid. And I don't think he wants to go to Manchester United. And it's not because it's Manchester United, but any other club in any other country. That would be very surprising that he decide to do so, especially because he doesn't speak English. He doesn't care about it. It's not, I think, his goal. Um, and it's not because of the situation of Manchester United. Now, if he decides and surprises me again, I tell you, it's going to be different than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's a different level. It's a different mentality. The guy will change the dressing room because everybody's going to listen to him. Everybody's going to stick to his ideas. Can you imagine that he had Ronaldo, Ramos, and so many fantastic players, and they were in front of him? So everybody, Cavani, Ronaldo, Pogba, De Gea, will follow him, and for sure, Manchester United will be a different team.
Right, right. And I mean, whenever I hear my Manchester United friends whinging, I always say to them, look, I think Patrice Evra will be a very good football coach one day, not just because he knows football, but he can speak 7 languages. Do you think
Yeah.
Evra has a promising career as a potential coach manager one day?
Yes, it's possible. United, he knows the club. He's ready to criticize his own club if he's not happy because he wants its best. So he's a tough guy. He's a winner. He has the mentality you need. in England, Roy Keane will be a very good coach as well. I think those guys who are warriors and wants to die for the club that they played for. So yeah, Patrice Evra will have to slow down. I think psychologically to calm down. To make sure he doesn't slap any player because he's annoyed by him or upset. But yeah, I want to give him the credit. I'm pretty sure he can do well.
Great. And look, there's Iwan Malik who's saying Chelsea, Chelsea. Very good point, positive point there. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments field there. Just
Sure,
looking up
sure.
at all the comments that we've covered everything. I'm just trying to be respectful of that. Mondre, yep, you smile. Okay. Yeah, we are very much done with the question. And one final question before we say au revoir, friend, or catch you later, because we do want you to come back and tell great stories, not just about football, but about your acting, and hopefully you can get
Anytime.
that bad guy and give give the new James Bond because the current James Bond is retiring, but give the new James Bond, like a big international disaster or something. That would be a really cool movie. But what's your, I mean, I know this is a cliche word, but what's your, I don't like to use the word advice, but what's your sharing for young people who are trying to achieve impossible dreams and having a
Mm.
balanced perspective about achieving goals and dreams? Because, like you said, we live in a different time and era, surrounded by technology. Things are completely different. And, like, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he came to Malaysia once, he said in that deep Austrian accent, never have a plan B, always stick to your plan A. Was, and I just said to my wife, I don't have those kind of muscles, So I need a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. But what's the Frank Leboeuf message, I mean, sharing to everybody out there in terms of working hard, to trying to achieve goals and dreams, but at the same time, trying to have a balanced perspective on it, like you did when you were playing football, like you did when you're currently acting right now.
I think the key is to believe in yourself. That's the thing. Nobody can tell you that you're a bad person. Nobody can tell you that you're bad on what you're doing. Only yourself can judge yourself because you know yourself. I'm. A book is coming out. A book that I wrote. Of the book is believing in yourself because I think you can see that people, like 80% of the people working in France, don't like their jobs.
Wow.
And they don't want to change it because they're afraid of you know losing something. But what do you lose? Aren't you losing your life not doing what you want? What do you really want? I could have become a coach in Premier League, which is absolutely nice, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted to become an actor, so I started from scratch, and I believed in myself that I was capable of doing it. When I was young and I was 18, I was kicked out of the football academy in Toulon, in south of France, because they decided that I wasn't good enough. But who they were to tell me that I wasn't good enough? So I played for an amateur team. A friend of mine, just coming back from Asia had a camera and filmed me. And I was the first French guy to send to the clubs. And I signed my first contract like that in Laval. You have to have an idea. You have to be sure that what you want to achieve is possible, and you have to give everything to make sure that happens. But the first thing you have to do is to believe in yourself, and I tell you, if you believe in yourself, big things will happen.
Great, great. And Frank, unscripted, not question here. I'm just going to give you a challenge. I'm going to call you the hypothetical situation. The new tomorrow someone's going to ask me to be the script writer for a new James Bond film. I'm going to say to him that the
Mhm.
bad guy should be called Mr. Dugging because dugging in Malaysia means beef, and you're going to be the bad guy. So act out how you would be a bad guy to James Bond right now. I'll give you 5 or 6 seconds, and I'm going to cut this clip and put it on out there to show that Frank Leboeuf is the next bad guy in the next James Bond movie. Are you ready? Five, four, three.
Ben, who
Yes.
do you think you are to give me 6 seconds to do what I want to do in my life? If I want to have 10 seconds, I'm going to take 10 seconds. That's the last time you asked me that.
Okay, I have never been petrified of you in my life, but there's the smile. There it is right there. Look, Frank, it's been an enjoyable interview. I mean, look, the, there's more to all our viewers and fans of Great People TV. Thank you for joining us. To Malaysia, Chelsea, Sol Jabiru, thank you for the support in terms of the promotion you did for this interview. You can catch this interview on Great People TV. Share it with everybody, because tonight we didn't just learn about football and obviously the tactics and the nuances of certain players in the English Premier League. We learned about the balance and how hard it is to achieve that balance. But Frank is one of the very few people around the world that can very much, give balance to that. And like you said, believe in yourself. I know it's a cliche saying, but believe in yourself. Believe that that dream can come true. So Frank Leboeuf, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. We will
Thank you.
catch up with you very soon. Please come back and tell us more great. And if you do get an audition for a James Bond bad guy movie, just come back and tell us about it. I don't take royalties. You're my
I
friend,
will.
so just come back and tell us about it. So you take care, Frank. Merci.
Take care. Bye bye.
That was Frank Leboeuf, former Chelsea man, winner of the France World Cup in 1998, winner of Euro 2000 in the year 2000, obviously, when they beat Italy in such a dramatic game, but also an actor, a very talented actor. And you know what? I think he's going places in his acting career, so do not underestimate Frank Leboeuf. Look, everybody, it's been a pleasant night. Thank you all so much. Azan, Mark, all the questions, Ashavin, all the questions that came in was absolutely fantastic. Now, we are giving away a prize. As you can see there, the question at the top: what was Frank's biggest career achievement during his time at Chelsea, the Chelsea Football Club? Okay, so yeah, he had 6 great years there. Like he said, he won everything, but he mentioned. I'm just going to give you a clue. He mentioned in the interview, I was a top-notch footballer, but there was one thing that he learned that made him a more well-rounded person. And I'm going to give you a clue. It's about language. Put your answer on the comments page, and we will send you the prize. So that is our question, our quiz. Here's and before we wrap it up, our sponsor AccuAnswer. Please, 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 everyone, please go to the AccuAnswer Facebook, Instagram, and Shopee's social media account of AccuAnswer. Just follow those 3 simple instructions to stand a chance to win a cash voucher. AccuAnswer will be giving out cash vouchers randomly every month. All you've got to do is step 1, press the follow button, like you press the follow button of Great People TV tonight, and the like button. I hope you're telling everybody about this great channel. And step number 2, what's this? You can comment and tag 3 friends, tiga friends, trois. Trois is 3 in France, or on French, should I say? And then tag 3 friends and tell them about this. And then random winners will be selected every month. I'll just say that again. Go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Shopee, AccuAnswer. Number 1, follow. Number 2, comment. You can say anything you want about AccuAnswer or tonight's interview, and tag 3 friends, tiga trois, okay? And then random winners will be selected every month. Look, it's been a fantastic night. I hope you all had a very, very good night. Actually, to be honest, I wanted the interview to continue a bit longer with Frank, but he's a very busy man, and I appreciate Frank very much to take his time out of his busy schedule to be with us tonight. So my name is Ben Ibrahim. It's been a great episode of Great People TV with the one and only Frank Leboeuf. Stay with us, and we'll catch you on the next episode next week, Great People TV. Take care, everyone, and selamat malam.